Do forgive the lighting. I made the mistake of not making it bright enough, so everything seems kind of washed out. I may change some settings later on for filming so that it comes off a bit more crisp and lively. Something that just screams out loud, production value. Because that's what Gunpla needs at this point in time. Production value and personality. Anyway, I was contacted by a website I didn't know existed. Probably because they're new, that's probably why I didn't know they existed. Called NewtypeHQ. They're an up-and-coming Gunpla site, which is refreshing because frankly we need more options in America for Gunpla. Many people usually buy from Amazon, which isn't exactly the greatest place to get Gunpla, in my opinion. So the more US-based sellers, the better. So one of the head guys there, could be one of the owners, I'm not 100% sure, as I didn't dig deep into this man's life, named Harry hit me up, and he said, "We want to sponsor you." In fact, he wrote one of the greatest letters that I received for sponsorship. "We're forced to sponsor you. Your ItsAGunpla channel is something to be reckoned with, and we have no choice but to align ourselves with you and find a way to make you a partner." Now this is how you get somebody to join. They already realize my magnificence before it has reached full bloom. Therefore, they should be rewarded for their loyalty. That and every other Gundam site finds me quite controversial. Ironically, NewtypeHQ knows exactly about me and my main YouTube channel and is what led them to me. Therefore, I don't have to worry about anyone being upset with anything I say over there because they know exactly what they're getting into. It's like asking Batman to join the Justice League. You know his methods are backwards, but he gets things done. So anyway, back on point. Harry asked me, what would I want to review or check out? And I told him I don't know because I've got a litany of kits. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind more kits. It's always something to do. But I didn't know exactly what they would like for me to do. So I said, how about this? You send something you think I could use as far as tools go or something. Because there's a whole bunch of tools I don't really know about. I'm new to this whole Gunpla thing. And a lot of the stuff I learned with cars and motorcycles isn't that applicable to Gunpla, I'm finding out. Sometimes I use chemicals that melt my kit like ice cream in the sun. So I have a lot to learn. They basically sent me a litany of items from Godhand. Probably the most synonymous of all the Gunpla tool makers for being the best and the most expensive. Let's be real here. First off, we're checking out the Godhand steel sanding boards. Now, I don't know much about these, but it seems fairly straightforward. Please pay no mind to my first attempt at using these and making myself look like a complete and utter fool. Pretend this never happened. Anyway, these sanding boards, from what I can tell, are an alternative to sanding sticks, and they're fairly useful. The only thing that I can say I don't like about them is that they're metal, and that's because with a normal sanding stick, there's a little bit of flex there. So if you're not using a sanding sponge and you just have sticks, you can still kind of bend it to give a curve to a shape rather than flattening it out. Whereas to these, I don't really have that option. But it's reusable. It doesn't come with the two-sided tape. You need the double sticking tape for this, by the way, as well. The double stick tape is a definite necessary for the steel sanding boards. But once you have these two items, you don't even really have to buy the Godhand sandpaper. I mean, you can if you want to, but if you're like me and you have a whole ton of sandpaper left over from vehicle projects, this is applicable there. Once again, I applied it wrong, so don't use this as a guiding line. It's the first time I'm trying this. With these, you take the little metal stick, you pop it on with the two-sided tape, and you cut the sandpaper you need on the little board. Bing, bang, boom, start sanding, you got a sanding stick. It's a hard one, but a sanding stick nonetheless. And if you work on as many Gunpla as I have in the past, how many months have I been doing this now? September, October, November, December, January, February. What's now March? So wow, I've been doing this for almost a year. And I've gone through a ton of sanding sticks. Not too many, but enough to where it gets a little bit pricey. I think overall I've spent maybe $40 to $50 on sanding sticks. So in the long run, I think that these stainless steel sanding boards can last longer and be cheaper in the long run, but it's a more expensive upfront cost, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like PC gaming. When you build a PC, the upfront cost to build the PC is pretty steep versus a console, aka the sanding sticks. You look at those and you think to yourself, well, it's cheaper this way and it doesn't hurt, but when you don't pay attention, the price builds up over time. Whereas with these, you put up your upfront cost, maybe you spend 50, 60 bucks on this, and the sandpaper, or if you're lucky enough to have sandpaper left over, then the price isn't as bad. In the long run, it's cheaper, but that first initial payment really bites you. So once again, this was something geared towards someone who's an experienced modeler. I think these would be better for resin as well, rather than plastic. But then again, my first time using it with the sandpaper I was sent, I found it very abrasive, and it really dug into the plastic pieces, so I have to use something a bit lighter. Next up, I was sent the Power Pin Vise by Godhand, as well as Spin Mold. Odd, that's the name of these things, but I really never used these before. They look like more advanced scribing tools, and also I find them very effective for drilling, believe it or not. Normally, when I'm working with metal detail parts, I have to drill a hole into the plastic, and at times the hole can be, curved slightly. You know how drilling is if you're doing that sort of advanced stuff. It's a little bit messy, sometimes unpredictable, goes in weird directions. It's a little bit of a pain. Also, you can't use them for scribing. Now, when I look at these spin mold tools, I gotta say, it's interesting. It's very interesting. You can drill a perfect hole. Now, I'm pretty sure it's originally meant for advanced scribing with resin kits, but I have found that it could be applicable to using with advanced detail parts on plastic kits. Because once you cut off like the peg for a thruster nub, and then you start drilling in, as I said before, it can be unpredictable, it can be a little bit messy, the drill can go off in an odd direction. With this, it's just straight down and it's a clean cut. Also, the fact that it does this flat and there's no sort of curvature in it leads to it being much easier to glue in a part rather than the part not reaching all the way at the end because, it's a sort of cone shape rather than a flat circle down. It's hard to explain, really. I really should have had some sort of diagrams to show this off. Also, it took me a minute to realize that the Pin Vise came with 2 different adapters to hold on to drill bits. If you've done any sort of, like I said before, slightly advanced modeling, drilling holes, and so on and so forth, usually the cheap drill bits is a one-size-fits-all, which can be a bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to the smaller size drill bits, like 0.1 millimeter or something ridiculously small like that. And God forbid if you drop it or it gets caught in like one of the side thingies and they break so easily. It has 2 different holding mechanisms, and each one has variations in size, anywhere from 2.0 millimeters all the way to 0.1 millimeters. So it's not bad. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass to flip between one or the other, but overall, there's probably more assurance that when you use your drill bits, you're not going to lose them. It's not going to be a big pain to get it in or, drop parts, break anything. So I think I'll probably be using this a lot more than my cheap one. I will admit that the rubber bit isn't as comfortable as I feel it should be. It can be kind of annoying. It's like it just has an uncomfortable feel after a couple spins. Maybe I just have to get used to it. And there we go, checking out the drill hole. As you can see, look how clean that is versus the one with the normal drill bit. Look at that. It is clean as hell, man. It's fantastic. I'm definitely going to be using this thing in the future. There's no doubt of that. They also sent me some real fine tweezers from Godhand. These things, unfortunately, I made the mistake of losing the footage using these, as well as using the Godhand sponges. So that'll have to wait for another video when I'm working on another kit. It will have its time to shine. I'm definitely interested in these tweezers, though. These little suckers can pick up like the little small metal beads that you can use on metal detail parts. This is if you're really into like putting the little beads in like the head of a new Gundam or something. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, and those beads are so easy to lose. I have some Tamiya nipper, what are these things called? Tamiya tweezers, but the Tamiya, they don't grip as well. There's like a little gap and it feels flimsy. Well, this Godhand one, it feels real solid, but I'm pretty sure the price is up there. Mother of God, the cat is in here being a dickhead. Be gone with you, cat. Find someone else to harass, please. The Godhand tweezers with a thin tip are very impressive. They're great. And I guess for $25, they should be great, honestly. I was also sent the Godhand glass mat. I'm not really sure what the application with this is, to be honest. Like, it's fantastic for mixing my paints on. I'll give it that, and quick, easy cleanup work. The only problem is I find it very small. but that's just my personal preference. I probably like something bigger. And it's probably fine for cutting out, water slide decals, which I will probably get to making a video on later, featuring the Godhand nippers versus the Tamiya ones. So please forgive me for this not being ultimately amazing and probably an overly long video. And I'm sure someone will sit there and go, hey, you got this wrong. These parts are actually for those. Feel free to tell me what they're for, because once again, I will reiterate this. I'm new to Gunpla. I'm working on my 6th kit now. So everything is me just discovering crap. And you don't really find many tutorials on YouTube for a lot of these tools and stuff, which is weird. You'd think there'd be a litany of these things, but they're not. So I'm kind of like walking around in the dark here. As stated in the beginning of the video, these were all sent to me by NewtypeHQ. And so far, checking out their website, they're new. I feel the website has a little bit farther to go as far as design. But overall, I'm going to give them this. This is something no other Gunpla site has right now. The level of tools these guys have at their disposal is ridiculous. Like, for real. I spent so much time over the past 8 months buying and importing tools from Japan or China, running to all this BS, trying to get crap over here, and it's just a real pain in the ass. Now there's actually a US seller where I could have something in a relative time frame rather than a couple weeks to a month. Did they ever start offering like resin kits and third-party kits, man, forget it. They'd be the go-to place. But if they're partnered with Bandai, I doubt they could offer third-party kits, so may as well get rid of that. So far, they seem to have everything that every other Gunpla site has on offer, in spades. I just find it a little hard to navigate at times when looking for things. But I will say that so far, I'm approving of the site. They are doing something that is really needed. Tools are a big part of the hobby, and being able to find them readily available is a huge boon. And normally, I don't take sponsorships, as you know. But I feel this time, it might be okay. As you all know, I love messing around with Gunpla and painting. I go through a lot of tools and kits, and it seems like a good thing. I don't know what the future will hold for me working with Newtype. Maybe I'll review kits in the future, new ones, and it's only stuff I'm interested in. I'm not going to jerk anybody around. That's not my style. You're never going to see me doing a Kotobukiya kit for some weird little big-headed female character and pretending I'm interested. That's not my face, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I should get the hell out of here because I'm beginning to ramble and over-explain things. So, while this is going on, feel free to look at some of my kit work. Still, everything's a work in progress. Also, I totally forgot to mention, because I'm brain dead, I actually have a discount code with NewtypeHQ. Don't worry, I don't get paid if you use it. You don't have to feel like I'm pushing this because I get my pockets lined. No, ItsAGunpla, all in capital letters. And save yourself 10% whenever you order anything. Basically, it's just a track if I have any influence. If people use it, they'll go, hey, he's not a total douchebag. Maybe it wasn't a bad idea sending him those tools. That's pretty much what it equates to. And that's going to do it for me this time. You know me, can't ask anyone to rate, comment, subscribe unless they so choose to. I know, I'm not using my usual taglines, as this channel I'm attempting to curse like 90% less. See what a struggle it is for me? I'm really trying to be wholesome.